All right, so we're ready to begin. Um, so we're proceeding with the fourth hope. Okay. Is it the fourth hope or the fifth hope? I'm double checking as well. Let me check. Okay, let's go with the fourth hope. Fifth, sixth. Oh, gracious. We have Asim is saying fifth hope. Ali Marmar is saying sixth hope. Let's go in between because I was aiming for fourth hope. So we'll go with fifth hope. If everybody's okay. If there are any objections, say it out now. Otherwise, we'll begin in 5 seconds. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم افتح علينا حكمتك وانشر علينا رحمتك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ameen. We're continuing on today with the 26th flash treatise for the elderly, fifth hope, which is on page 289. And the link that has been posted will be reposted again. All right. So everyone can be on the same page. Fifth hope. One time at the start of my old age, when I desired solitude, I retired to Yusha Tepesi, Mount Joshua, away up the Istanbul Bosphorus. My spirit was seeking ease in loneliness. My spirit was seeking ease in loneliness. One day on that high hill, I gazed around me at the broad horizon, and I cast a glance from the high position of the 45th branch, that is the 45th year of the tree of my life, to its lower levels. I saw that down on the lower branches of each year were the countless corpses of those I had known and had loved and with whom I had been connected. I felt a truly piteous sorrow at the parting and separation. I wept like Fuzuli Baghdadi for the friends from whom I was parted. As I recall their company, I weep. So long as there's breath in this dry body, I cry out. As I recall their company, I weep. So long as there is breath in this dry body, I cry out. I sought a solace, a light, a door leading to hope. A door leading to hope. Suddenly, belief in the hereafter came to my assistance, shedding an inextinguishable light, offering an indestructible hope. Belief in the hereafter came to my assistance, shedding an inextinguishable light. We discussed fifth hope last week. Ali Barmer is saying, okay, yeah, maybe some of it, so that's okay. We'll just continue on reading it and see if there's something else that comes along. Then we should go from there. Suddenly, belief in the hereafter came to my assistance, shedding an inextinguishable light, offering an indestructible hope. Yes, my brothers and sisters who are elderly like me. Since the hereafter exists, and it is everlasting, and it is a better world than this, and since the one who created us is both all-wise and all-compassionate, we should not complain and regret our old age. On the contrary, we should be happy at it insofar as with age one reaches perfect maturity through worship and belief. And it is a sign one will be released from the duties of life and depart for the world of mercy in order to rest. According to narrations, some relying on witnessing and some on absolute certainty, mankind's most eminent individuals, the 124,000 prophets, have unanimously given news of the existence of the hereafter, and that man will be sent there and the universe's creator will bring it about in accordance with his certain promise. Similarly, affirming through illumination and witnessing in the form of certainty at the degree of knowledge, the reports of the prophets, the 124 million saints have testified to the hereafter's existence. And through the manifestations they display in this world, all the names of the universe's all-wise maker self-evidently necessitate an everlasting realm. All the names of the universe's all-wise maker self-evidently necessitate an everlasting realm. So too the infinite pre-eternal power and the boundless eternal wisdom, which allowing nothing to be vain and purposeless every year in the spring, raised to life with the command of be, and it is. The incalculable corpses of the dead trees on the face of the earth. Making them manifest life after death. And revivify 300,000 species of plants and animals as thousands of samples of the resurrection of the dead. These observedly necessitate the existence of the hereafter, as does the eternal mercy and perpetual favor, which with perfect compassion and in wondrous fashion provide the livelihoods of all living beings needy for sustenance, and in a brief time in spring display their uncountable sorts of adornment and decoration. They too necessitate the existence of the hereafter. These observedly necessitate the existence of the hereafter, so does the eternal mercy and perpetual favor, which with perfect compassion and in wondrous fashion provide the livelihoods of all living beings needy for sustenance, and in a brief time in spring display their uncountable source of adornment and decoration. They too necessitate the existence of the hereafter. Interesting. Together with man, the most perfect fruit of the universe and its creator's most loved creature, who of all beings is the most closely concerned with the beings in the universe, and the clear indications and certain evidence of his intense, unshakable, constant desire for immortality and his hopes, which extend to eternity. All these prove so decisively that after this transient world, there will be an eternal world, a realm of the hereafter and everlasting happiness, that they self-evidently necessitate acceptance of the hereafter's existence. Together with man, the most perfect fruit of the universe, and its creator's most loved creature, who of all beings is the most closely concerned with the beings in the universe. And the clear indications and certain evidence of his and certain evidence of his intense, unshakable, constant desire for immortality and his hopes which extend to eternity. All these prove so decisively that after this transient world, there will be an eternal world, a realm of the hereafter and everlasting happiness, that they self-evidently necessitate acceptance of the hereafter's existence. Footnote, the ease of reporting a definite matter and the difficulty in denying it may be seen in the following comparison. If one person says there is a wondrous garden on earth whose trees produce fruits which are cans of milk, and another says there isn't, the one claiming it only has to point out where it is or some of its fruits in order to easily prove it, whereas the one denying can only prove his denial by seeing and showing the whole face of the earth. In just the same way, even if one disregards the hundreds of thousands of signs, fruits, and marks of paradise, which those who give news of it have indicated, this testimony of two truthful witnesses to its certain existence is sufficient, while the one who denies it can only prove his denial after observing the infinite universe and infinite unending time, and seeing it and investigating it exhaustively. Not only then can he demonstrate its non-existence. And so, my elderly brothers and sisters, you may understand just how powerful is belief in the hereafter. Since the most important thing the all-wise Quran teaches us is belief in the hereafter, and since this belief is thus powerful and it yields such hope and solace that if a person was overwhelmed by old age 100 times over, the consolation arising from this belief would be sufficient to face it. For sure, we elderly people should love our old age and say all praise be to God for perfect belief. That is the end to the fifth hope. It seems that we did go over it last week, so apologies if it may seem like a repetition, but we can just try to see or extract something that stood out to us now, or if somebody wants to give in a summary, especially if you were in attendance last week, go ahead. You can share out what you took away, or what do you want to go over right now. Let's see if anyone wants to say something. Feel free to raise your hand. Well, people are still, I guess, thinking. This is, I think the author is mentioning interesting points here about, how we are all subject to change in our existence, and obviously, just like an athlete, when he starts off his or her career, he's very efficient in terms of utilizing all his equipment, tools that are given, but after a certain age, everything starts declining, and it's very obvious within the order of the universe, where you can see how every moment we are all dying, subject to change. In terms of our skills, they're not as sharp as they used to be. I mean, I don't know. Everyone can speak on their own behalf. Some practical examples, like the power of sight, for example. After a while, it starts deteriorating, and then in our existence, we start seeing signs of aging, but then one wonders, what is all this about? Where am I going? And then so the truth seems more apparent, I guess, in one's journey, with all kind of personal, particular, practical experiences, and that's what the author is sharing here. But it doesn't narrow down his experiences to a certain age level or someone in a certain stage in life, because we're all journeying within our own existence through different stages, levels. So someone may be at a different stage in their life, or versus someone may be approaching the 3 digits, right? But at the end of the day, we are all subject to change. So let's question the source of existence of this change, and then we wonder how are we given existence, or how are we made to experience all that. I thought I owned my power of sight, but seems like I don't have any control over it, for example, right? And so what am I doing here? Like, is there light at the end of a dark tunnel? And so there must be a one that's presenting all this to me and preparing me for something more permanent and eternal. And that's it. That's really the summary that I took away from this fifth hope. But I'll just give in to people if they want to share out their takeaway, or if you have any comments or questions from what was read, please go ahead. Raise your hand. HBiz, go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for the summary, Faria. To fill the silence, and I was thinking about our discussion from last week as well. And just to summarize to add on to your summary, and to add on to your summary about some of the main points that I also recall, was how, you know, as you've said, like in this existence I find myself in, there seems to be this apparent contradiction, right? I want to enjoy my existence, but at the very moment I think I'm enjoying it, there is this pain of loss, or the pain of loss that's continuously taking place as everything is constantly in motion and change. So then we're talking about two witnesses basically, as far as how can I know that, or how do I reconcile this apparent contradiction that I find myself in. And the first one that we had discussed was, as far as the way in which, if I remember correctly, the way in which the universe comes into existence and the way that I experience it. And as the author here is mentioning with like the example of the spring, like there's this ease. Everything is just, it's just or rather there's, as far as I'm concerned, in my perception, there's no struggle in the way that things come into existence. And by definition, the source of such a thing must be one that is absolute in its nature. And then a second witness or point that we had discussed was how I also find, as I try to enjoy this existence and I'm subject to this constant transience, within my expectations as a human being, there's this need for meaning or permanence, or eternal life, if you will, for some sort of meaningful existence. And I kind of wanted to tie that in again with rereading, or having listened to you reread the text again this week, how, it says, this is in the middle of the last big paragraph. kind of hard. It says, so too the infinite pre-eternal power and the boundless eternal wisdom, which allowing nothing to be vain and purposeless, every year in the spring raised to life with the command of be, and it is. And it goes on. But I guess, like, you know, again, very, I think, intentional and subtle points here the author is making, again, with like allowing nothing to be in vain and purposeless. The main issue here is not just the, you know, my experiencing of transience, but in my experience of transience there being this apparent meaninglessness. So this impermanence that I'm experiencing, going against the very thing that I seem to be just, or this this need for meaning that has been inculcated within me, that I just find within myself. So even yes, I'll just leave it there for now, but I'm just, you know, hopefully that gave some time for people to think as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. That helped out a lot as well, because I really went blank in terms of what we discussed last week, but it now is coming back. So I'm just going to reiterate what I understood from what she said is basically like me experiencing this transient universe, or within my existence, how everything is just impermanent. So this need, but I have this need of desiring permanence. So my experiencing impermanence, right, makes me realize my desire for permanence or eternal need. And yeah, that's I think the whole human journey is all about. And yeah, and it's interesting also the way the author presents the case. It's very clear, it's very vivid, it's very self-evident within the universe, as in everything is just a witness about what my reality is in terms of being impermanent within my existence, or being not able to sustain anything. And so even within the witnessing of the change of season, it makes me also realize, or everything that I witness within it, where like right now, Northeast, it's winter time, you know, mostly everything is dead. The leaves on the trees are barren. And so that's, but from my experience before, I know that there must be another change of season coming up, like the springtime, and where everything must be revived again. And so that all that is a witness to really the transient nature of this universe. What am I and what I experience at the end of the day. Thanks again for bringing this part up. Just checking in if there's anyone else who wants to share out something or make a comment, a question. Besa, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this is a little bit off topic, but still related to the text. And where it says the first sentence of the third big paragraph, it says, according to narration, some relying on witnessing and some on absolute certainty, mankind's most eminent individuals, the 24,000 prophets, have unanimously given news of the existence of the hereafter. And it continues on. So I was wondering, is there an importance here in the author stating witnessing and absolute certainty, and how are we to understand or distinguish between the two? because it's something that attracted my attention while you were reading, but I wasn't sure how to make sense of it.
Good point. But did I see someone's hand up? Did anyone raise their hand up? Or okay. I wouldn't know what the author means by witnessing an absolute certainty, but I'll just give it a guess in terms of when I'm true to my human self, within myself, when I'm able to decipher things appropriately, as in a way that it's in the way that it's sync with my human nature, then that which I witness becomes evidence for me in terms of what everything points to. And so I say, yeah, there must be a one that's bringing about everything in existence. There must be a one that's is the source of existence of this desire within me for seeking eternal permanence within my existence. That's what I would incline towards in terms of understanding absolute certainty. And so if something makes real sense to me, then I would be sharing it, in that way as well. But it's just like, hey, this makes sense to me, and, I'm pretty satisfied with it. And so, just sharing that with you. And so, and I think the author is saying that, so maybe that's how I took it in, but I don't know what others have to say in terms of that. Yes, I don't know. So the question is really, what do you think the author means by absolute certainty? It's the bottom of page 289, the last paragraph. So when he says, according to narration, some relying on witnessing and some on absolute certainty. So what does the author can possibly mean by absolute certainty? And so he goes on saying, mankind's most eminent individuals, the 124,000 prophets, have unanimously given news of the existence of the hereafter. If anyone has anything to say on that end, anything to share, I'd go for it. Zafar, go ahead, please. Brother Zafar.
Yeah. So the text is saying that these experts that we call the most eminent experts on the matter that we call prophets, they have unanimously given the news of the hereafter to the mankind, that it exists. So the author is saying some on witnessing, meaning these experts have witnessed it, the existence of the hereafter, and some have given the news on absolute certainty. So I think of it as, if I were to give the example of a book, let's say in front of us is a stack of papers, and we see some scribble in it, and we, let's say we have no concept of a book beforehand, and all we see is stack of papers and scribble on them first time we see it, and then someone says, a so-called expert says, this thing, you can read it, it has meaning, there's another dimension to it, they say you can get meaning out of it, and you say, are you true? Are you sure? I mean, really? And so, and he says, sure, I witnessed it, and you can witness it too. And then he shows me how to get meaning. That is witnessing. And the other one is absolute certainty. If someone says, look at everything, look at your life, look at your being, you are primed to get so-called meaning from your existence. So therefore the thing in front of you should have such a dimension, more of a logical way of presenting the same thing. And so these experts probably relied on both of these, both witnessing and logical reasoning in conveying the message that such such a dimension to this existence should exist. That's what I understood from it.
Thank you for sharing your comment. Yeah, that makes sense. So if we see, let's say we're doing a research on a topic, and then most of the sources share out the same thing, unanimously they're in agreement with that, as in, the way the topic is kind of brought about or discussed, it's more likely the same. Then we say that, okay, this is how things are. Yeah, thank you for sharing this out. Makes sense. Is there anyone else who wants to add something or have a comment, concern, question? Okay. Yeah, so really it's the point here being made about the existence of the hereafter, but really, again, hereafter is like a value-laden word. So I mean, really, like, what does everything point to at the end of the day? This universe cannot be it. Like, what I experience here cannot be it. What is everything pointing to at the end of the day? And then here I am, I desire everything to be permanent. I'm in need of eternal existence, eternal happiness. Like HBS, I was pointing out, here I am, I enjoy my existence and everything, but this universe witnesses that, it cannot sustain my existence, and yet I have this need of desiring eternal existence. So just even the desire within itself is a witness pointing to a one that's bringing even this whole state of mind into existence as well. And so, what I may perceive to be a transient existence in this universe cannot be without meaning, aimless, or purposeless. There must be a purpose and meaning to it. There must be a purpose and meaning to my existence. Just as there is purpose and meaning to the existence of this universe. Alrighty. Thank you all for contributing and sharing your comments. Anyone else wants to make a comment or something? We'll give in a couple of seconds. And let me just skim through the next page if there's anything that needs to be discussed. Otherwise, I know some people are anxious to go to the sixth hope. Let's see. HBS, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry. So I'm gonna read the sentence that starts with "Yes, my brothers and sisters." That's underneath, like in the first page, at least at the text that I'm looking at. It says, "Yes, my brothers and sisters who are elderly like me, since the hereafter exists and it is everlasting, and it is a better world than this, and the one who created us is both all wise and all compassionate, we should not complain and regret our old age. On the contrary, we should be happy at it. We should be happy at it insofar as with age one reaches perfect maturity through worship and belief. And it is a sign one will be released from the duties of life and depart for the world of mercy in order to rest. So in my mind, I was drawing a parallel here with an earlier discussion, actually the one from this morning, about how, the on an existential level or sphere, or where the pain that I feel from the pain that I might find myself in the face of hardship is nothing compared to the pain from the meaninglessness of that experience for me. So I might be going through something that I don't prefer, but the fact that it looks to nothing, that there is nothing in it for me, the meaninglessness of that experience is far more greater and deteriorating of the self to me. So here when it says, on the contrary, we should be happy at it. Happy at what? At the fact that, I am old or elderly, or the fact that I am at constantly experiencing just transience, or the fact that I'm experiencing this sort of meaninglessness. And then I see here, Hamim says, I am aging. Yes, so I'm subject to this transience, that I should be happy at it. Why? Because insofar as with age, one reaches perfect maturity through worship and belief. So I think here age, it can be your literal age, but also not just age in and of itself, but also the experience of the transience, or the pain of the meaninglessness, or the pain of the potential meaninglessness of the pain that I experience through transience. So then when it says reaches perfect maturity through worship and belief, just, we had discussed how through developing myself, enhancing myself, or improving my, turning my potentiality into abilities or capabilities, this sort of process is one that which makes me happy. But that which makes me happy is intrinsically tied to the notion of permanence, right? So it has to be, there must be, at least when I look at what my humanity looks to, like within myself, I find that in order for something to be truly happy for me, like arise in me a sense of happiness, there must be this meaningfulness and this permanence that is automatically tied to it. Otherwise, then it just, and all the other qualities too, I think this, we also had discussed it too, right? So I don't want just compassion, but I want mercy, and I want justice, and I want wisdom, and everything all together. So yeah, I don't necessarily have a certain point that I was getting to, but I was just, in my mind, it was just very clear how it was a direct parallel to this, again, this, the pain coming from my understanding of the meaninglessness of something else that might be causing me pain, and how the only way to really resolve that issue is through something that can make that experience, or the experience of the pain meaningful for me. And I think that'll be my last comment for now.
Thanks again, H. Beza, for your beautiful comment. And also thank you for pointing us to this paragraph on page 289, the third paragraph, because while you were reading it and sharing your comment, I was also looking into it. And actually, I have two questions. Maybe, someone can help me in terms of what does it mean. So what does the author mean by, number one, with age one reaches perfect maturity through worship and belief? What does the worship and belief means here? That's the first question. And the second question is, and it is a sign one will be released from the duties of life. What are the duties of life? So two questions. First question, what is worship and belief within that context of that phrase? And the second question is, what are duties of life? Feel free to raise your hand to share out your understanding of it. Thank you. All right, so let me just, while everyone is thinking, I mean, my take on it through worship and belief would be through one's awareness of one's existence. That would be through worship and belief. So depending on my awareness of my existence, really recognizing the reality of this universe and what everything points to, that would be worship and belief. That's what the author means by that. And it is a sign one will be released from the duties of life. Yeah, what are the duties of life? Like everything that we do on a daily basis, are those duties of life? Because the way he's mentioning it here, one will be released, as in it's something that's like a burden. I don't know. Thinking, what does that mean? Maybe it could be also, like you were saying, HB, meaninglessness of things. I don't know. Yeah, if anyone has any thoughts on that, feel free to share out while I'm also thinking about it. I'm gonna think out loud here. So let's see. Okay, I'm not sure. So if anyone has anything to share on that end, feel free to do so. So what are the duties of life that one will be released from? Go ahead, Brother Zafar.
Assalamu alaikum again. So with age one reaches perfect maturity. So when a person is 10 years old, you ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the child says, oh, I want to be a firefighter or a police or a teacher, right? But the options are open. But when that person is 25, he or she has picked one, and that's what she is. And then the rest, she or he will spend the rest of the next 30 years advancing in that path. So that the person really, becomes something that's good, but he or she doesn't become all the other possibilities. Right? And then that person may have dreams about, achieving this or that in her chosen profession. But when she becomes, let's say, 45, and she knows that the dreams are not happening. And so in one sense, it's a pessimistic state of affairs, in that I had all these dreams, I had all these possibilities, I had all these dreams, they are not happening. But if through worship and belief, if we understand worship and belief as asking ourselves, well, who placed in me all these dreams? Who placed in me all these potentialities? And one of them has bore fruit, and the rest didn't. But there's this mechanism in which when I invest in something, a skill, I become skilled at it, and so on. And also I enjoy developing these skills, right? What is the purpose of all this? And then what is the message that is being given to me? And then if the person understands that the meaning, as Hatija was saying, Hatija Beza was saying, if we don't understand the meaning of all this, then that's when I truly get annihilated, in the sense that I don't even want to live. But if I understand the meaning, in that hereafter exists, there's this dimension, this additional dimension to this existence, where what I do here bears eternal fruits over there, and I understand my role of in that realm of being, then I get full satisfaction. And because I get meaning, I am released of my duties here. What was that duty? Making sense of existence, trying to have a mark here. And so the moment I know that I am having my mark, I am contributing to this magnificent lattice, or however you want to call it, of this existence. I have my eternal mark over it, and that was my purpose of being here. That's my release. So this is what came to my mind.
Yeah, thank you. That helps. So really, one will be released from the duties of life has to do with making sense of existence here, how we go on trying to make every interaction meaningful, where we desire eternal satisfaction or existence. So yeah, in that way, yeah, it makes sense. So thank you, but it's something more to ponder over. All right, any other comments or questions or concern from anyone? All right, if not, then I propose we move on to the sixth hope. Okay. Okay, so page 291, sixth hope, the 26th flash, page 291, sixth hope. One time during my distressing captivity, I was alone on the top of Kamdagi, the pine mountain in the mountains of Barla, having withdrawn from the company of men. I was searching for a light in my loneliness. One night, on the small platform at the top of a tall pine tree, on the summit of that high mountain, Old age recalled to me 3 or 4 exiles, one within the other. As is described in the 6th letter, the melancholy sound of the rustling, murmuring trees on that lonely, silent, distant night affected me grievously in my old age and exile. Old age gave me the following thought. Like the day changed into this black grave and the world donned its black shroud, the daytime of your life too will turn into night, and the daytime of the world turn into the night of the intermediate realm. And summertime of life will be transformed into the winter nighttime of death. It whispered this in my heart's ear. My soul was then obliged to say, yes, I am far from my native land, but being separated from all those I have loved during my 50 years lifetime who have died and remaining weeping for them is a far more grievous and sorrowful exile than the exile from my country. Moreover, I'm drawing close to a much sadder and more painful exile than the melancholy exile of the night and the mountain. Old age informs me that I'm approaching the time of separation from the world. I then sought a light, a hope from these sorrowful exiles, one within the other. Suddenly, belief in God came to my assistance and afforded such a familiarity that even if the compounded desolation in which I found myself increased 1,000-fold, its consolation would have been sufficient. Elderly men and women, since we have a compassionate Creator, there can be no exile for us. Since He exists, everything exists for us. Since He exists, the angels exist. The world is not empty. Lonely mountains and empty deserts are full of Almighty God's servant. Apart from His conscious servants, stones and trees become like familiar friends when seen through His light and on His account. They may converse with us and give us enjoyment. Yes, evidences and witnesses to the number of beings in the universe and to the number of the letters of this vast book of the world testify to the existence of our all-compassionate, munificent, intimate, loving Creator, Maker and Protector. They show us His mercy to the number of living creatures, members, foods and bounties, which may be a means of receiving His compassion, mercy, and favor, and indicate His court. Impotence and weakness are the most acceptable intercessor at His court. And old age is precisely the time of impotence and weakness. So one should not feel resentful at old age, which is thus an acceptable intercessor at our court, but love it. That is the end to the 6th hope. Does anyone wants to share out their immediate takeaways from this or anything that stood out to them? Miriam, go ahead, please. Miriam, I see your hand raised up. Please go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, so in the text, they said elderly men and women. Why did they say elderly men and women?
Good question. Elderly men, as in, every moment we are all changing, subject to change. So I guess that's a way to express out that a person is aging. So this morning, that was the old me. And just an hour ago, that was the old me. So I'm losing what I'm given at the same time, I'm approaching something else. But I don't know. This is why elderly men and women usually, I guess it's just directly saying to people who are, you know, experiencing the loss of maybe, I don't know, the loss of things that they enjoy doing. So maybe now they need reading glasses to see. So it makes one realize, oh yeah, I'm an elderly person now. Back then I was enjoying whatever, like playing sports and everything without having to wear glasses. But now suddenly I have to wear glasses. So yeah, it makes me old now. But I don't know if anyone else also wants to answer that. But this was my take on it. And I don't know if it makes sense, but let's see if anyone else wants to say why the author is specifically saying elderly men and women. Feel free to share out what you take away from this. But does that make sense, Mariam? Or did you have like a specific question on it, or just a comment? Nope, just a comment. Okay, yeah, good one. So, okay, Ali Murmur, go ahead, please.
I agree with you, Feriha, in answering Miriam's question. Everybody is elderly in comparison with their previous stages of his or her life. For example, I remember Miriam as a baby. Now she is not a baby anymore. I understand that she is an elderly person in comparison with their babyhood. Why the author is saying elderly men and women, not necessarily that the persons, the people will reach certain ages, although practically speaking, there are elderly people and everybody will experience in a part of their life, during a part of their life, an elderly stages if they are given life for a certain time. I think within the context of this sixth hope, the author starts with saying that I feel in exile. That attracted my attention, and then from there I will come to the question. So I feel in exile, but he says not only exile, I am in exile from my country, from my hometown, or from my family, but I am in exile when I see that the beautiful sounds and singings of the animals and trees, as it is described here, how did it say that? Yeah, melancholy sound of the rustling, murmuring trees on that lonely, silent, distant night affected me grievously in my old age and exile. It means a kind of reminder that everything is moving around, but as they move and they rustle and they murmuring trees that makes noise, the time is passing and they are as if expressing their feelings that, look, this world is transient, we are all passing. For example, during night, everything, during daytime, everything seems to be very alive, but when the night comes and everything looks like dead, silent, not active anymore, in sleeping darkness, in darkness, in the imagination of the person looks like, yeah, everything is passing, everything is passing, my life is passing. No, what is happening to me, that everything is going away from me, leaving me alone, and also my being also is living along me. And everybody knows that at the end, we all will die. And continuously we are losing our previous existence. So in these sorrowful feelings, the author says, I mean, it doesn't really sound right for me to be in this world, to feel always in exile rather than entertain my existence. So he says, as I was looking for it, it says, if, but this is an if clause. If there is a creator, there is an owner who is permanent, but just creating this world in order to enable human beings to understand that his qualities, his power, his knowledge, his mercy, his generosity, his justice, all the qualities are endless. He is there, but what is created is transient. Is transient. So if you try to get an answer to your loneliness, to your being in exile from your real expectations, from your real life dream, that if only I was like this, if only I had this, if only I have entertaining my existence at the highest satisfaction level. But none of them is happening here, but the desire, the burning desire is within us. So he was looking for a solution. It cannot be, because it contradicts my reality. I want eternity. I want full satisfaction. I don't want to feel lonely. I don't want to feel that everything is leaving me, even my existence, my life, or are leaving me. I want to be satisfied with my own existence. There must be an answer to it. He says, if there is the creator, who is by definition must be a permanent, eternal one, because he is creating the things continuously changing, but his act of creation, his power, his knowledge, his mercy, are repeating themselves, but they are not transient. Their manifestation is transient. For example, let's say we are living in a family life and the father brings the food enough for today, and the following day again brings food enough for the following day, the following day. What do we understand? Although he is bringing the food that the family members need, whatever they need, provides their need. Daily base, what does it show? The father is continuously supplying the needs of the family. It's an analogy. Father is also a temporary being, but it's an analogy between daily provision of the family, but the continuation of the daily provision being provided, prepared, supplied. it means what is happening is transient, but the source is not transient because of the continuous repetition. So if this universe is transient in its nature and it doesn't please me at all, it displeases me, I must look for a solution because I need the solution. I am created, I am made with the need for solution. There must be a solution. I must search for it. He says, in the third paragraph of the sixth hope, he says, as Miriam asked, elderly men and women, it means a person who's conscious of his being in this world is transient, living, getting older and older and older, losing the previous life, previous opportunities. Now, in a sense, everybody is elderly as compared to their previous life. Yeah, for example, I know Yusuf has a brother. Sorry, Maryam has a brother. I'm sorry. So I said it. I was going to ask Maryam if you have a brother or sister elderly than you are. Let me ask it for the sake of dialogue. Maryam, do you have any sibling elderly than you, older than you?
I have one older brother, and he's sitting right across from me.
So, next to you, is he sitting, did you say?
Across from me.
See, okay. So, he is elderly as compared to you, is it correct?
Yeah.
So how about your father? Is he elderly as compared to Yusuf, your brother?
Yeah.
How about me? Do you know me, don't you?
Yeah.
Am I elderly than your father?
Yes.
No, you see, at every stage, everyone is elderly as compared to their previous existence or younger generations. So you can say I am an elderly person as compared to my babyhood, childhood, right? So we say, look, this elderly means we are losing something, but at the same time, we don't want to lose. Oh, this is a contradiction. I think during the discussion we had when we read the fifth verb, H. Beza emphasized that, what was it? Emphasized one point, what was it? Came to my mind, but
Meaninglessness.
Yeah, meaninglessness and being in pain is not natural in human being. Meaninglessness, for example. I am always losing. I am always feeling that I am exiled from my reality that I hope to be. That's what I want to be. I am always away from it. Of course, we understand being exiled in terms of, for example, away from one's familiar area, people, family members. So when I feel that this is meaning, the life is always, life always appears to be that I am losing. I feel that I gained something as soon as I feel that I gained something today, and one day later, that gain turns into a loss. Come on, what is going on in this strange world which contradicts my human expectations? So he said there must be a solution. The only solution, the simple solution, understandably simple in understanding solution is there must be a permanent source of existence of this transient manifestation. As the father or mother brings the food on daily basis, but every day keeps bringing it, it means every day the food which is given to me on the daily basis is transient. I eat it and finish it on the same day, there is another one. But the source of provision, supply is permanent. Comparatively, it is just an analogy. So it is permanent as compared to the daily provision of the food. So we can come to this conclusion that if there was a creator, which seems to be, there must be a one who is permanent behind the existence of this transient world. So if the source of existence is permanent, everything in fact is permanent. Now, let's say, I like, of course, everybody knows that I like to speak to the youngest people among us, which is Miriam here. Miriam, let's assume that your father is not going to get retired, not going to die, permanently providing the supply needed for the householding permanently. So today he brought only food, he brought food enough only for today. Do you bother? What am I going to have tomorrow?
Yes.
Do you bother? Do you worry about it? Or since my father brings it every day and he's a permanent supplier, tomorrow he will bring as well. Can you say this?
I mean, it depends on if I know that he's never going to come back again, or if he is going to come back. If I don't know, then I'll probably say, "Oh, he's going to come tomorrow too."
Now, let's imagine that we said it is not realistic, but let's assume that your father supplies every day until now. It supplied everything you needed until now, didn't he? Didn't he supply what you need until now?
Yeah.
Okay, let's assume that your father is not going to get older, is not going to get retired, is not going to die. But that is just, let's assume. And he is not going to change his mind. And today he brought enough food. You know that your father on daily basis he brings, and he is going to bring as well. So my question is this: you don't have food for tomorrow, okay? He brings every day and only supplies the daily need of the family. Do you bother about tomorrow's food, or do you trust that your father is going to provide it, but he is not going to get older, he is not going to die? That's the assumption. What do you think?
The second option.
What is that? Make it clear.
That my father's going to come back tomorrow and provide me with all the supplies that I need.
How about the day after tomorrow? But that's the assumption your father is not going to die, is not going to change his mind, okay? How about in 2 days' time, 3 days' time? Do you bother about your third day of food? That what am I going to eat? For example, today is Saturday, isn't it? What am I going to eat on Wednesday? There is no food here for Wednesday. Yeah. But do you bother?
Yes, I think I would if he stops coming. And I know this.
If he is, but we are assuming that he is not going to change his mind, he is not going to die. He has provided food until now, and he is a permanent being, eternal being, and he always, every day, he brings what you need. Do you bother about your food on Wednesday? Today is Saturday. Did you understand the case? Somebody can help me to express this very important question.
So are you saying like after 2 days pass, do I worry about the third day, or if it's still Saturday and I worry about Wednesday?
Do you worry about your food on Wednesday? Today is Saturday, next Wednesday.
No, I don't worry about it. Not right now.
Explain to me, why don't you worry? Because your father,
Because my father always brings food every single day to the house.
yes,
And-
yes, but be careful now. It's excellent. Now, every day, every single day, he brings, and he is not a bad person. He is always providing it. He has been providing for what you need for how many years? I don't know how old you are. Doesn't matter. Let's say 11 years, 20, 12 years. He has always brought food on single day, every single day. Now, he's not, we are assuming that your father is a permanently the same person, never changes, never dies. Okay? Now, I am repeating this very crucial question to you. Next Wednesday, next Thursday, next Friday, do you have food in the example we are using? In the example, not reality. In the example we are using, do you have food for next Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
No.
Yes or no? In
No.
our example, we said father billing is only enough for daily base. Will you have food for Wednesday? Today, will you have food for Wednesday?
I won't have it at hand today.
Yes,
No.
okay. You don't have it now. Please, I don't know whether I am able to express myself. If I am not clear in my expressing the point, somebody may help me, can help me. Now, although you don't have food for Wednesday, because you trust, you know that your father has brought until now what you need, and he's not going to change. He's a permanent being. He doesn't get old. He doesn't die. Assumptions. Okay?
Okay.
Although you don't have food for Wednesday, do you feel that even if I don't have it now, I am definitely have it?
Yeah, I'll probably think that.
Yes. So because you won't bother, you won't panic. What am I going to eat on Wednesday? I don't have any food now. What does it mean? What does it mean? It is a very important subject. Although we may not have, for example, eternal life, although we may not have eternal satisfaction, full satisfaction in our life, if we understand that the one who provides everything, supplies everything in the universe is permanent, what does it mean? Although I don't know what will happen to me in the future, but because of my creator is absolute, eternal, and he is always generous, he is always powerful enough to create the universe, he is always providing whatever we need here. He is a permanent, and his qualities are also permanent. Everything what we need is guaranteed. He is going to satisfy it. Do you understand? Because my language is appalling, so I may not be able to express it perfectly. If Miriam, did you understand what I am trying to say, really? If not, I will ask somebody to explain it. For example, anyone who is a native English speaker.
No, I understood perfectly fine. Thank you so much.
So, but, okay, I would say, what did you understand? I will ask you to make sure, what did you understand? This from this analogy, from this example.
Okay, so I don't know what will happen tomorrow, but I don't worry about what will happen tomorrow because I know that my Creator is always generous and will give me my needs if I call for them, if I ask for them. And so that's why I don't worry if I don't know what's going to happen. Like, so the thought hasn't come to me in a while to even worry about food for the next day because I know that my Creator is always generous and will always give it to me.
Okay, how about I want eternal happiness. I want eternity. I don't want to die, but I am dying. Will you trust this Creator that He would provide everything what you need even after you die? Because He gives the death, doesn't He?
Yes.
He arranged this universe, the order of the universe, as we are experiencing it. So the conclusion is, if anybody understands, realizes that this universe has a permanent, eternal creator, he doesn't bother about anything. Even we don't know what will happen to me tomorrow. Even I don't have my provisions for tomorrow. Even my provision after death is eternal happiness. Yeah, in this world, there is no eternal happiness. But even if I don't have it, I will definitely trust my Creator. Since He gave me the need for eternal happiness, He will satisfy it. Because He is treating me in this world on daily basis, or every moment, whatever I need, it is provided. But one thing, I am worrying, but I will die, okay? I will die, but my Creator is not going to die. Do you think somebody died today in the world?
Yes.
Oh, but do you think the Creator of this person also died?
No.
No, because He's still giving us life. It means we will die, but He will remain absolute and eternal. That is what we are experiencing in this world. For example, we know that human beings live in this world for millions of years, whatever the date, doesn't matter. But everybody is brought into this world and given death. Brought into this world, given death. Oh, they are all dead. But the Creator of human beings is still giving birth and giving death to people. He is permanent. For example, do you think that there is a newly born baby today in the world?
Yes.
No. If you go to the hospital, you will say every day the doctors will deliver maybe 100 in each hospital, 10, 20, 30 newly born babies. And how many hospitals are there in the world? It means, although some people are dying, although some people are coming into existence, being born, but the source of life and source of death, which is the source of the universe, is permanent. Will you bother? The author says, although everybody is worrying that they are getting older and older and older, if they realize the Creator's eternity, they will make sure that their existence will not be forgotten at all. The Creator is eternal. Creator of life is eternal. Creator of death is eternal. The author is saying, when I realized that I have a creator, I said, why bother about the future? Try to connect yourself to the creator and be conscious of him, accept him, realize him, that he is eternal, everything is eternal. That's what the meaning of the sentence is, very striking. In fact, since he exists, where am I reading from? The third paragraph, elderly women, since we have a compassionate creator, if you realize this, there can be no exile for us. It means we are not going to leave everything behind and sent into exile into an unknown existence or unknown universe. Since he exists, everything exists for us. But if someone realizes that his source of existence exists and he is the creator, he is the eternal one, because the universe says my source of existence is eternal. So he is the eternal, definitely everything exists for me. Whatever I expect exists for me, because the creator of my expectations is eternal. He gave me these expectations. Why do you think he gave me these expectations if he wasn't going to supply my expectations? Do you understand? Okay, Maria. Please.
So my question was, so you said our creator creates everything for us, but why does he create everything specifically for us? Why wasn't the center of the universe for rabbits? Like, why wasn't everything created for rabbits or something else?
Did you say that why are we the center of the existence? Did you say this?
Yes.
Who told you that you are the center of the existence?
You said our creator creates everything for us, and so that's where I got it.
No, as far as we are concerned. For example, I love rabbits. So, since my sense of love for rabbits created by my creator, if I exist, rabbit also must exist, because I love them. I don't want to leave them behind. So I don't want them to go into non-existence. This is the desire created within me. So there is no center of the universe. But as far as I am concerned, I have to think of my existence. As far as I am concerned. So if you find the answer for your questions, it means your brother's questions will have the answer as well. Your mother's questions will have answers as well. Do you see what I mean? So rabbits you like, also your love for the rabbit will be answered as well. Don't worry about it, because we think from our perspective first and then generalize it. Did you understand?
Yes, thank you.
Did I make clear?
Yes, you did. But if we're not the center of the universe, then why are we the most one of the most intelligent species in the world? And how come we've improved our living style a lot more than other animals? Like, if you've noticed, coyotes don't have houses with pillows and plush beds and stuff. So why are we so advanced in the universe and other animals are not?
What did you say? The last sentence you used, why we?
Why are we the most advanced species on Earth if we're not the center of the universe?
Okay. Now, when you were a baby, you were the most advanced baby in the world. When you are now, you are the most advanced young child. You're a young child. How do you use yourself? A young girl? Young person?
Teenager.
Advanced. Okay? Most advanced. Every creature at its own existence at that moment is a perfect creation as far as they are concerned, every individual. So it is a personal thinking. That's why we think from our perspective. And if it was possible to speak to a rabbit will say, come on, man, who are you? I am the perfect one. Whatever, everything is perfect. My hands are perfect. My teeth are perfect. My legs are perfect. I am a perfect rabbit. And you are a perfect Maryam. So we think from our perspective. We, concentrate on our needs. And we define everything from our perspective, as far as we are concerned. So when I think about it, I am the center of the universe. If you ask the rabbit, it will say, I am the center of the universe. What are you talking about? Everything is provided for me. The sun is for me. The moon is for me. The air is for me. The grass is for me. So when we think about it, we are the perfect creatures. When rabbit, let's imagine that rabbit is thinking now. Rabbit will say, I don't know. What do they do? I don't know what is going on in their mind, in their understanding. But rabbit will say, I am the perfect one. Because everything is created perfectly. That's what we should understand. Everything's creation is perfect. All right? Don't say that the others are not good, but we are perfect. No. Of course, you must have heard this from some people speaking that in the Quran says human beings are created perfect. Yeah, okay, correct, because Quran speaks to human beings. Yeah, so if the Quran was speaking to rabbits, the Quran would say rabbits are perfect. Do you understand this? Did I make my point clear?
Yes, you did. I just want to clarify though. When
Yeah.
I said I or like when I said I sort of meant us humans, not just me. I'm not the center of the universe, but like when I said I sort of meant like the us humans, like everybody.
As humans or everyone. Okay. Yeah. So you can generalize it. Look, do you feel that your creation, your feelings are really excellent? Yep. For example, your arms are really perfect in up. I don't know the word. Compared to your body, for example, do you say, oh, if my arms were shorter or longer, if I had 4 arms, would be better? Or as you are perfect? Say, then you can extend this understanding. My brother's creation is perfect as well. My mother's, my father's, and my neighbors, the others, and you can go, the trees' creation is perfect as trees. As I am perfect as I am. So we can generalize it. Okay?
Okay.
I think time is up as well, so I have to stop next week. Tomorrow we can continue, inshallah.
All right. Go ahead, Brother Zafar.
I just wanted to add to all that's been said that the sixth hope ends with the author saying one should not feel resentful at old age or being elderly, which is thus an acceptable intercessor of the court, but love it. One should love being elderly in the context of the explanations. My previous state, my past, I am elderly of what has passed, and he's saying that I should be happy of being the elderly of my past. Why? On the surface, it causes me some sorrow, but that sorrow pushes me to seek the one who gives me eternity. If had I not felt that sorrow, I would not have sought that source of eternity. And by seeking that, I realize that I will be given eternal existence, and that gives me immense joy. So therefore, I should be happy of being an elderly person who feels, who is experiencing this transience type of existence. So this gives me peace in living in a world like this, and therefore I say this is perfect. As Brother Ali was saying, every being is perfect. The type of existence that's transient, I can then say this is perfect. So I'm happy for being an elderly person. Thank you.
Thank you for adding that comment, Brother Zafar. I feel that it concludes today's discussion, and it also, I guess, it answers the question he had: why should we love being elderly in this? I mean, the example we gave out, and I think when everything becomes more apparent to us in our existence, it's very experiential, and so we just start embracing everything that's given to us in our existence. So thank you all for your contribution and participation. Very enlightening and enriching discussion. Well, inshallah, we will continue on next week with the seventh hope. And thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana. Innaka anta al-alimul hakim. Glory be unto you. We have no knowledge save except that which you've taught us. Indeed, you're all knowledgeable, all wise. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati surah al-Fatiha. Ameen.